Okay, so we talk about social entrepreneurship in developed and deprived communities. So the key learning is understand how social enterprise can help deprived communities, understand theories behind the help, and understand the dark side of social entrepreneurs in developed environments. So this is a 2 minute video about Muhammad Yunus and the Grameen Bank. I'm sure everyone has heard about it.
Poverty is a kind of a darkness around you. You don't see any hope, any ray of hope. You live every day the same way in the darkness. You don't have a future.
In the early 70s, a young Muhammad Yunus, then an economics professor, left the city to do research in local villages like this one.
Here I am teaching elegant theories of economics in the classroom, and people are dying outside the classroom, and we have nothing to do about it.
He found people making many beautiful products, yet they remained desperately poor. To an economist, it didn't make sense. Something was missing.
But if you look around, who are the people really working? It's the poor. They work their pants off.
Professor Yunus realized that the only way the villagers could buy supplies to create small businesses was with high-interest loans from unscrupulous money lenders. There was no other option.
And money lenders were imposing very terrible conditionalities on them. Like you have to sell your product to me at the price that I decide, etc., that kind of thing.
In one village, Muhammad Yunus found that he could provide life-changing loans to 42 people. They would cost a total of $27, an average of 64 cents each. He personally made the loans.
And I was shocked. Here we talk about millions of dollars and billions of dollars of development assistance to help the economy grow and so on. We never paid any attention to people who needed such a small amount of money.
That was the beginning of an idea that grew into the Grameen Bank, a bank for the rural poor. In the language of Bangladesh, Grameen means rural. It's also the idea for which Muhammad Yunus and the Grameen Bank were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006.
Okay. So, deprived communities. Can anyone just tell me what you mean by a deprived community? And it's pretty obvious, but anyone having a set definition about it? What do you mean? What do you think that the word deprived means? Anyone?
Area that doesn't have like the basic stuff.
Basic necessities. Anyone else? To add on that? Okay, so deprived communities is, as she said, somebody who lacks basic necessities, and as compared to the developed parts of the world or developing parts of the world, they lack sanitation, food, work, employment, and other services that any one of us that we share. So there are a number of social enterprises which help those in deprived communities, and one example that we'd like to talk about today is a company called Give Me Tap. So it's revolutionary business model. So they've tied up with different cafes and restaurants all around, and what you have to do is you go to the restaurant, you have to purchase a reusable and refillable bottle, and then you download this application on your phone, and it tells you on the map that other restaurants are there around you that you can go and refill the bottle. So once purchased, the consumer can go to different restaurants and cafes and get it refilled, and for every bottle you purchase, you are funding the water pumps in Africa. So that's how this works. So each purchase helps water pumps in Africa, and thus by far this enterprise has been very successful. So if you look at the figure, because of these reusable and recyclable bottles, 4 million fewer plastic bottles in landfill every year. So that they're helping that deprived community in Africa by getting water, and also the environment by lowering the plastic and the fossil by 4 million fewer. So now, to fully understand this service social enterprise, we will talk about the bottom of pyramid theory that was said by C.K. Prahalad. So in 1990, he started to look at this in a very different way, and at the bottom of this pyramid, there are 2 billion poor people, the poorest of all. So if you look at those 2 billion people individually, they don't have so much money. They might not have any money. But if you look at them together, they are a very significant market. And that's what he's been talking about, that he is as important, and this bottom of the pyramid section is as important as the top of the section. Because the services and the innovation and the entrepreneurship skills that the bottom 2 billion poorest people could provide is as similar to what the top would provide. So he focused on how multinational companies could use these innovations and could focus on developing those companies around these people. So a very similar thing happened in India. There's a company called Unilever. So what it did was they developed consumer products specifically oriented to the 800 million poor people in India. And Prahlad proposes that businesses and governments should not see these poor people and the bottom of this pyramid as victims of anything. They're equal helpers, and probably they are starting a new trend of helping. So another movement that got started in India a few years ago was the Amul movement. So there are in the east of India and the west of India, there are these rural parts, and the villages, they had no employment, they didn't have any services, but the thing they had was the ladies were really good at milking cows and all these things where the villagers and rural people do. So this man came to them and said that you get me the milk around the villages, and I make sure that that milk gets sold in the cities. And that's how this company started, Amul, and which is the largest cooperative movement in Southeast Asia today. So that's what the bottom of the pyramid is. And so this bottom of the pyramid, it eradicates poverty. Poor are a large and important market, 800 million of that. And they're innovative at the top end of the pyramid. So they're as innovative as any other tire. And the companies tailor their products to this market, as I said, Unilever did. So these multinational companies could get a lot out of these companies. That's what Prahlad, starting from 1990, was trying to convince these companies. And see it as a developing market and seek out entrepreneurship. So they're equal innovators and not at all the victims of this. And you can have a look at the reading, and I'm sure there's a link on our website as well. So if you want to go ahead and you can have a read by read.
Have you ever felt like you're taking one step forward and two steps back? Life just seems to pass me by. Even when I'm not at school, I feel like I'm always working. I just feel like it's never ending. It gets me so angry. Sometimes I just don't want to go through with it anymore. We used to do lots together. Now all he cares about is getting drunk. I really hate him sometimes. I wish he would just shut up and leave me alone. Why is alcohol more important to him than I am? I mean, some of my friends know what happens at home. I can relax with them. It feels good to be able to tell them things. I don't feel any sort of pressure like when I'm at home with my dad. I just wish other people understood. I wish there was someone I could speak to.
Okay, so that was a short awareness film that was made by the Strawberry Fields training. And so ex-offenders, vulnerable adults and people in alcohol and drug recovery, that's what the mission of helping them is the mission of Strawberry Fields. So to inspire the building of positive trust and honest relationship between those in need and those who provide. That was a guest lecture in our module, and the directors Paul Island and Bernie Slater started this enterprise. So they provide specialized training and support services along with giving advice to these vulnerable young adults. and also to those people who are on the margins of the society. And so far, no one client has returned to the prison. So that's their track record. So they've been very good at doing their work. But apart from all these things, about from helping people and giving them training and support and all kinds of services, so they do have workshops, they do have all sorts of activities, and they are really good at their work. But is there a dark side to this enterprise? So that's what we're talking about. So if you go back to the lecture, the guest lecture, Paul admitted that he committed a lot of money laundering, and he was also on the run from the police. And in this company, he's just a silent partner, so he could just avoid the attachment. That's why he started this. So this is the dark side of the social entrepreneur. If anyone looks at this company from the outside, from the surface, it's a pretty good company. They work really good. Everything is fine. But from the inside, the real motive of people, you don't really know what going behind the company, what the real purpose is. So even though what they're doing is good, it's ethically good, and everything is absolutely according to the paper, but as he said in the guest lecture that he was involved in money laundering, and just to get away with all of those things, to avoid the tax people, he became a silent partner for 1 or 2 years with the other director. So that answers the question that even though a company like such that nobody would expect it, because to be honest, when I started doing research for this company, and I was sitting down with my friends, and I was like, I cannot find a dark side to this entrepreneurship venture. So going deeper and deeper, and again thinking about this, it's very difficult to look at the dark side of companies. So, but there still are. To all the companies, or to such few companies, there are such dark sides. So deprived communities, the key learning outcomes. So how enterprises can help the deprived communities. I've explained briefly the pyramid that was explained by C.J. Prahlad, and also comprehensive dark side of entrepreneurs in developed environments. So how they basically how enterprises, social enterprises work in developed environments, very similar to how they work in the deprived environment. And also we looked at the example and just giving that and Scotty Feet Street.